What's going on, guys? It's your main man back on the scene with another video. If you're new to the channel, smash that like button and subscribe. It will be greatly appreciated. Today is Bruce Lee's birthday, so happy birthday to Bruce Lee. You know, when I was a kid, everybody wanted to be Bruce Lee. That's when karate schools or martial arts schools were real popular, and everybody took it. We used to go watch. And, you know, also the Shaw Brothers movies were popular back then. And we used to go see them at Newark Drive-In or downtown Newark, which downtown Newark was the better experience because, you know, black folks like to talk to the screen. So it made it funny, some of the stuff people were saying. And it was just a joint back then. We used to go see a lot of ass-kicking movies back then. Burt Reynolds, Jim Brown, Jim Kelly. Butt kicking was popular then. I mean, now everything's there is sissified. Let's check out some of his article. 7 best movies from martial arts master Bruce Lee ranked, which I'm not gonna read all this. Let's get to the ranking. Number 7, The Way of the Dragon, aka Return of the Dragon. When I saw it, it was called Return of the Dragon. I don't know why they have 2 different names for the movie. I guess it depends on the market. And I can understand changing something if it was offensive, but this here, I don't see the logic in that. Although The Way of the Dragon is one of Lee's better known films, the tone is starkly different from his more serious endeavors. Actually, it's a pretty silly movie, and Lee's comedic timing is astonishingly impeccable throughout. There's definitely a sense of pure pleasure to be had in the movie's unapologetic stupidity and near incoherence, and Chuck Norris' ridiculous presence and terrible acting cement it as a camp classic. That movie was terrible. It was goofy. Yeah, I thought it was a bad movie. So this one deserves to be number 7. It's not definitely my least favorite of all his movies. The Kid, I've never seen this. 10 years old. I can't speak on that because I never saw it. Fist of Fury, aka The Chinese Connection. This is another ridiculous thing. Why does it have 2 different names? And we look further down the list. Big Boss, aka Fist of Fury. Again, why was Fist of Fury used for 2 different movies? Like, it's stupid. When I saw it was The Chinese Connection. Bruce Lee specialized in choreographing the fight scenes where he was absurdly outnumbered, and Fist of Fury shows off this specific talent of his in spades. The story is paradigmatic of the I must avenge my master trope. Yeah, that was they also use that in a lot of the Shaw Brothers movies. Master! But it's charming nonetheless. There's some of the jingoism in there too, which I don't know what that means. We believe representing the honor of the Chinese fighting the wanton imperialism of Japan. Yeah, they wear that out in a lot of movies. The Big Boss, aka Fist of Fury, 1971. So again, why is that name used twice? When I saw this one, it was called Fist of Fury. I never heard it being called Big Boss until like years later. I mean, we saw this at the Paramount downtown Newark. I don't know, maybe the drive-in, I'm not sure. No, we saw it at the drive-in. I believe Connect Connection, we saw this at the Paramount downtown. Let's see, although not considered one of Lee's best movies, a critical reading of The Big Boss Politics revealed the subtle Marxist themes relating to worker uprising, lifting it intellectually above some of Lee's flashier films. In the movie, an inexplicably gifted martial artist, obviously played by Lee, moves in with his extended family and finds work in an ice factory. When Lee discovers the whole operation is a cover for drug smuggling, he undertakes a quest for justice that pits him against an entire criminal enterprise as a, what is it, proletariat or whatever, proletariat rises up to fight for their rights. The choreography is sparser here than in Lee's better-known movies, but Thailand provides an interesting backdrop and gives it film a unique aesthetic. I thought it was one of his better films. Game of Death. Well, I was never really too crazy about this movie because he had already passed away and he's not really in it that much. That takes, for me, it takes away a lot from this movie. So I wouldn't have this at number 3. It'd be closer to the bottom. You know, it says this film is partially. Let's get out of the way. Game of Death was made in poor taste. The movie was filmed partially before Bruce Lee's death. They replaced him after death, and then they used footage of his actual funeral in the final edit. The movie was pieced together by making quick work of unused bits from Lee's other films, resulting in a barely coherent story, including a plastic surgery subplot that explains why Lee doesn't always look like himself in the movie. But if you can ignore these indignities, The Game of Death is shockingly compelling and importantly features Lee's iconic yellow and black jumpsuit structured like a video game. Lee's character ascends a tower to fight an ever-increasing series of bosses. It is like a video game. This is a pre-video game, and this video game is pretty much based off this movie. One of who just happens to be the basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Game of Death. Well, Kareem trained with him. I guess he trained Kareem, I should say. Certainly cursed, but still somehow deeply entertaining movie filled with imagery that is synonymous with Bruce Lee's, or with Lee's legacy. The Orphan. So I never seen this, so I can't speak on that. And you already know Enter the Dragon was going to be number 1. Widely considered one of the best movies of 1973 and one of the best martial arts movies of all time. One thing I didn't like about this movie is that they deleted Jim Kelly. So I was like, why the brother always got to be the one that gets off in the movie? Enter the Dragon is probably Lee's magnum opus. It is also the last complete film he appeared in before his death the same year. It's no surprise that in 2004 it was selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress, having officially been deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. The aesthetic cues from the James Bond franchise, with aesthetic cues taken from the James Bond franchise, and with the blaxploitation movie just getting started, Lee teams up with James Minton Kelly. Why didn't this say Jim Kelly? Nobody knows him as James Minton Kelly. Jim Kelly and John Saxon to take on a criminal empire. Academics have since interpreted the film to be an allegory about post-colonial Asia, but it's above your head. If that's above your head, just sit back and enjoy the gorgeously choreographed scenes and sleazy 1970s charm. Yeah, Enter the Dragon is definitely his best flick. Like, this is the first movie I went to go see twice, and then Star Wars is the first movie I went to go see 3 times. That's the list, and Enter the Dragon definitely belongs at the beginning of the list as number 1. I agree with that, but the rest of them, I don't know about Game of Death. Like I said, he's not really even, he's barely in the movie, so it's. I think he did the fight scenes, but everything else, it wasn't him. Anyways, guys, that's it. Again, happy birthday to Bruce Lee. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.